Stones. Some say they are a legitimate unit of weight. Others say they are not that hard to paint. Let's find out. Miniature gamers love putting stones on their bases or displays. They not only make the base look more interesting, you also tend to find stones quite literally everywhere. On buildings, European beaches, in fields, forests or kidneys. And with only a few tricks, they are a treat to paint and to look at. We start out with a black primer. I recommend applying it with a brush to properly get at paint in all the nooks and crannies. Then, after the paint is dry, apply a white spray primer. Make sure to hit the base not only straight from the top, but also from a slight angle. We want the base to be mostly white in the end, with some black remaining where we would find natural shadows. Let's get our paint ready. You will need a pigment fixer and, pigments. I am going for a dark, bleak, wastelandish look. So I have chosen a black pigment that I will mix with a bit of khaki brown. Just put the powder on your palette and gently add a bit of fixer. Mix and keep adding some fixer if the paint is still too dry. We want it to have a shade-like consistency. Next, grab your base and apply the paint on your stone, just like a wash. Now we have to wait until the paint dries a little. This is the trickiest part. If the paint is still wet and we wipe it off too soon, too much white will show and it will look odd. But if we let it dry for too long, we won't be able to wipe it off altogether. I usually wait until the top parts of the stone start to look dry, while the paint in the recesses still looks wet. Our wiping tool of choice will be a makeup sponge. If you identify as a male, ask your girlfriend, wife or mother what that is and if you could nick one. If you identify as a female, just go ahead and rate your own stash. And if you identify as a sponge, let me know in the comments why. Alright, now grab the sponge and rub the paint off. The sponge automatically picks up the paint on the higher parts and leaves paint in the deeper parts. Focus on spots where you would like to add some highlights, like edges or around cracks. If the paint becomes streaky, just wipe in another direction or move the sponge in circles. And Bob's your uncle. But wait, there's more. You can simply add the paint again to spots that you don't find pleasing yet, or where you want to add more shadows. You can also just put a bit of pigment fixer on your sponge. This will reactivate the paint, and you can remove it or blend it, even if it was already dry. And on top of that, you can use the same mixture with a different color to paint the soil next to the stone. Make sure to also paint the base of the stone a little bit to make the transition more realistic. Bases like that take me about 3 to 5 minutes from start to finish, minus the waiting time. And you can use it to bulk paint your bases at lightning speed. Now all that's left to do is what you usually would do with your base and, well, put a miniature on it. And paint it. If you got any questions about that technique or got something else on your mind, just drop me a comment. Bye for now.